Good evening. I'm Dr. Dave Wendell, and welcome to our Power Workshop here on Facebook. Tonight we're going to be talking about Mediterranean-style diet. But before we get into that, let me give you a little prelude. First and foremost, I promise to make the next few minutes of your life life-changing. Give you information that's going to help you to actually live a healthier, cleaner life rather than one of sickness and despair. Now, I want to start off with a little story. This past weekend, I'm driving along and stopped at a traffic light, and I noticed up painted on the side of the building is one person dies every 19 minutes due to prescription medication. And I looked that up and researched it a little bit, and it's true fact. Over 75 people die every day due to prescription medication. Not because of abuse, not because of wrong use, normal, correct use of it, but that's 75 people a day. It equates to over 27,000 people a year. This is just in the United States. So imagine this. Barbara Starfield a couple of years ago released a report that said over 1 million people die every year due to medical intervention, meaning that if they never went to the medical doctor, they waited 3 to 5 days for their symptoms and condition to resolve, they would have been fine. And she worked at Johns Hopkins. Think about this. You go into a room, there's 400 people, and one person leaves. Would you recognize that? Chances are no, unless they were sitting right next to you. And so in the United States, we have about 400 million people. And if 1 million people die every year, that's equivalent to one person leaving that room of 400. So when we look into healthcare that way and say, it's just one person leaving in a room of 400, I don't believe that's the proper way that we should be conducting or looking into healthcare. Healthcare should be about getting people healthy, not merely reducing symptoms. So I'm hoping over the next few minutes that we can teach you how to truly be more healthy, not just reduced in symptoms, to be able to understand the principles of health so that you can have a better life right up until your last breath, not be stuck in a chair watching life pass you by. I always like to start off with the spine, and the reason we're here is because we want to be changing lives naturally. And I start off with the spine because this is the backbone of our health, right? The spine holds us upright. It's movable so that we can move around and do things. Well designed it was by our maker. Brain sits up in our head, sends the spinal cord down inside the spine, and that's protection. And all out these nerves to all over the body. As we accumulate stress, right? Because let's face it, sometimes our buttons are pushed and we accumulate stress, whether it's mental, physical from an injury or prolonged or position or repetitive activity, or even chemical, things we eat, drink, breathe, or ingest. These bones subluxate. That is, they misalign and compress a nerve. That shuts off power to the body, to the organs, the muscles, the immune system that's along these nerves. Doctors and chiropractic are the only profession, the only doctors that are trained to locate vertebral subluxations, reduce them, restoring that vital life energy along that nerve so your body comes back to life, so the organs work the way that they're supposed to, so that pain goes away, that it's not just covered up with some type of drug, worsening until it overrides that. We're here to change lives naturally. And so today we're going to be talking about the Mediterranean food diet. Okay, the Mediterranean diet is really important. We want to ask, how should we eat? People ask me this all the time, Doc, how should we eat? And we hand out a list that says, hey, here's all the foods that you can eat when you're on phase 1 or phase 2 food plan. Mediterranean is more phase 2. It's a little more relaxed, allows for a little more carb in the vegetables family, not as in what's in the packaged goods in the store. We know we want to eat every 2 to 3 hours. Why? The Mediterranean style diet is about eating every couple hours to reduce stress on the body. If we don't eat for 6 hours, 8 hours, once a day, we're stressing the adrenal system. And that's really stressful to our endocrine system. And it really makes the body harsh in function and difficult for healing. Don't eat carbohydrates. Okay? The reason you don't want to eat carbohydrates is because that triggers a sugar response in our body and shuts things down. We want to avoid stimulants. All stimulate the adrenal glands. And that's a new patient calling right now, thank you. And as we stimulate the adrenal glands, the body starts to break down. We want to avoid dead, devitalized, and junk food. Let's face it, when you walk up and down the aisles in the supermarket, what's there? Nothing. It's dead, junk, and devitalized food. Your body has to render it all non-toxic and then try and process it. And what's going to happen? It's putting weight on us. Just look at the average American. The average American is 23 pounds overweight. That's a lot. You know, on Thanksgiving, go grab the biggest turkey you find around Thanksgiving in the store. Hold that and carry it up and down an aisle. That's what the average American is carrying these days. We have to stop that. Okay? We want to avoid trans fats and rancid acids. Really important, because with trans fats and rancid acids, we're putting a toxic burden on our liver to try and process them, to try and render them non-toxic, to make sure that these acids or these fatty acids are getting digested, but they're not. They're poisoning our system. They stay in our body, these trans fats, up to 351 days. That's 7 half-lives of 51 days. Okay, I know, technical stuff. Just know that trans fats will stay in your body, wreak havoc, and destroy your body for almost a year's time. And so you got to stop eating them. Our school systems are starting to take them out, and food companies have been mandated that they have to take them out by a certain year, but it's not going very fast. Eat real whole, fresh food. Think about this. When you eat an apple, you're eating an apple. That's it. When you eat kale or romaine lettuce or an orange, that's what you're eating. When you bite into that apple, you're not biting into that apple getting trans fats and then different high fructose corn syrups and man-made starches. You're getting the apple. That's a whole food. That's what you want to eat and put into your body. You want fresh foods, right? What is it? One bad apple can ruin the whole bushel. Well, same thing with food. When you start eating bad foods, dead, devitalized, and junk food, and you put that into your body, you're starting to ruin your whole body. I used to get a laugh a few years ago. There was a product, and it might still be around. It's called Doans Pills for backache. No, I'm not advertising for Doans. But I often wondered, if I had a headache and took that Doans pill for backache, will my headache go away? Because it's a pain reliever. The answer is yes. Because there's nothing that's going to be specific and go to one part of the body, like, ooh, get in the body and just focus there. Everything circulates throughout the entire body. It all depends where we want to get the effects. Salt your food liberally. Use a good Himalayan salt, pink salt, or a good Celtic sea salt. It's a white salt with a grayish hue. Why? If you use real salt, there's 80-something minerals in there, 83 to 87 minerals in there, naturally occurring in the proper ratio, and you cannot give yourself high blood pressure or heart disease with that. All right, yep, my caution for those with kidney difficulties, where the kidneys aren't working, they might have an issue. But everybody else, no, it won't raise your blood pressure or give you heart disease. And so when you have salt and you're salting your food liberally, you're refeeding that endocrine system of yours that for the past 4 decades you've been salt-free. And you're starting to put a little flavor back into your food. You know, if you're using that appropriately, you're feeding your endocrine system. And so it's so important. And lastly, drink plenty of water. You should drink a ½ ounce of water for every pound you weigh. So if you weigh 150 pounds, 75 ounces of water. Exceptions. If you're out exercising, you may need more, and that's okay. There's no substitute for water. There really isn't. Other fluids, maybe you get away with a little carbonated water like a seltzer or something. Stay away from all those energy drinks. Stay away from all those drinks that have artificial sweeteners in there. We have a patient right now that is actually suffering neurological problems from an artificial sweetener. Gotta stay away from that stuff. It's poison, it's toxic. And remember, avoid dead, devitalized, and junk foods. So these are the ways to stay away, a little bit to add. But wait, there's more. Eat foods that are rich in omega-3 fatty acids. Those are your fats, right? Your olive oil, your coconut oil, your avocados, your good cold Atlantic fishes that are there. Nuts, seeds, those types of things that have good rich omega-3s our bodies need. It's so important. If you're in chronic pain, you're going to need some flaxseed oil. Don't buy it in the big buckets, buy it small. It goes rancid quick, so make sure you're getting good fresh flaxseed oil. That helps with the prostaglandins, balancing those in your body as well. Use monounsaturated oils. That's your olive oil, okay? Eat 6 servings plus of vegetables every day. Vegetables clean us out. They give us minerals. They give us the building blocks of what we need to clean and start to repair our bodies. We get the building blocks also from proteins. But vegetables are fantastic. Can't imagine a body that's not getting vegetables and cleaning out the lymphatic system. How do you clean out your sewer system if you're not putting things to flush it out? It's incredible. Eat 2 servings of fruits a day. Now, you should not be upside down having a ton of fruit and little to no vegetable. You really need 3 servings of vegetables to every 1 serving of fruit. It's important for that ratio when balancing blood sugars. But the vegetables give us the fiber, give us the minerals, give us the vitamin complexes, the enzymes we need for digestion. It's so important. Fruits, if you have too much, it's a fructose burden, and that's going to affect liver function and the rest of your health and sugar balance. Eat natural sources of good proteins. Don't eat the man-made proteins, eat the natural ones. It doesn't matter if it's animal-based or vegetable-based, but get those good proteins into your body. It's so important. You should have protein in every meal. You should have protein in every snack. I didn't see it up here. Never eat carbohydrates alone. Never. If you eat carbohydrates alone, you're going to go into a sugar response, and your body's going to be seeking sugar all day. You're going to be hungry. You're going to eat more than what you should. When we went to, as Americans, a low-fat diet, the average American started eating 400 calories more a day. That's why we carry about 23 extra pounds on our bodies on average. I don't carry that extra weight. That means some unfortunate soul's carrying about 46 pounds. Think about that. Eat only organic whole grains. If you're going to have grains, make sure they're organic, make sure they're whole. Stay away from the processed flours. You want to get stuff that is whole grain that gets sprouted. Why? Because now it's more like plant-like when you eat it as opposed to grain-like. Grains will spike your blood sugars. When your blood sugars spike, and in the United States, we do that on a regular basis, eating carbohydrates, right? A carbohydrate-rich diet, our blood sugars spike and drop and spike and drop. It's a ricochet effect. And we end up with insulin resistance and more weight gain. So only eat the organic whole grains, very little quantities of them. And eliminate oils that are high in omega-6 fatty acids. You do need some, but get rid of all the alternative oils that they're starting to promote these days. Stick to a good olive oil, a good coconut oil, stick to good butter, stick to avocado oil. That's all that you're really going to need. And so for a good Mediterranean diet, a phase 2, what we do, which is Melvin Page's phase 2, you can Google him. He did it great back in the 50s against the AMA and the FDA. But anyway, that is what you want to eat, okay? Something you want to know. Let's get up here. Good. The phase 2 food plan, Mediterranean diet that we teach in our office, was compared to the standard American Heart Association diet, what the American Heart Association is teaching. And we found patients on our phase 2 food plan had an unprecedented 76% lower risk of dying from cardiovascular disease or suffering heart failure, heart attack, or stroke than those on the American Heart Association diet. This is factual stuff. So do you want to follow the American Heart Association diet that says you should eat low fat, and you have a 76% more chance of stroke, heart failure, and heart attack and cardiovascular disease? Or do you want to enjoy those fats that flavor our foods and fill us up and decrease our calories and have a healthier life? Remarkably, it was proven more effective at saving lives than any other heart diet, drugs, talk to your doctor about that, lifestyle programs, or any combination of the elements, of those elements. So I'm telling you, our phase 2 Mediterranean style diet is unprecedented, the best that you can possibly have. I want to end this workshop by talking about hierarchy of needs. We talk about diet a lot in our office in chiropractic. Remember, food is a vital need. Without food for about 4 weeks, a person's going to perish. But more important than food is water. Water is important for hydrating our bodies and and filtering nourishment through our bodies as well. More important than water is air. And more important than air is the function of our nervous system. That is why chiropractic adjustment is so important. Without nerve function, our bodies start to die instantly. Without air, we start to die in about 4 minutes. Without water, it's 4 days, and without food, it's 4 weeks. So that's why the hierarchy of needs is what it is. We cover all the bases here in our office: food, water, air, and nerve function. But they're so important. When the most important is that nerve function, you can take care of breathing and drinking water, and we'll help you replace your diet. I'm Dr. Dave Wendell, and I want to be your inspiration for healthy living.